ChatGPT now has 700 million weekly users. That's nearly 10% of the world's adult population using AI every week. Meanwhile, China just developed brain-inspired AI that runs 100 times faster on their own chips, completely bypassing NVIDIA's hardware. And Harvard created an AI that can reverse cellular disease by analyzing all genes simultaneously rather than targeting single proteins. We're witnessing 3 simultaneous revolutions: mass AI adoption changing how people work and think, geopolitical competition driving technological independence, and breakthrough applications that could extend human lifespan.
Let's start with those ChatGPT usage numbers, because they reveal something fundamental about how AI is actually being adopted. 700 million weekly users processing 2.5 billion daily messages. That's about 29,000 messages per second, 24/7. But here's what surprised me most: the gender split flipped. ChatGPT started as predominantly male users, but by 2025, female users slightly outnumber male users. This suggests AI adoption is broader and more universal than the typical early adopter tech bro pattern we've seen with previous technologies. The use cases are also shifting dramatically. In June 2024, work usage was 47% and personal use was 53%. By June 2025, work dropped to just 27%, while personal use jumped to 73%. People aren't just using AI as a work tool anymore. It's becoming integrated into daily life decisions, personal projects, and routine tasks. The most common uses are practical guidance, 30%, information retrieval as a search alternative, and writing tasks like email and translation. Surprisingly, coding only accounts for 4% of ChatGPT usage, which explains why Anthropic's Claude dominates the coding space with its specialized focus. What concerns me is that 2% of usage involves personal relationships and emotional support, with some adolescents asking about self-harm. This highlights how AI is filling emotional voids that probably require human intervention, not algorithmic responses. The geographic distribution of AI adoption tells a fascinating story about global technology trends. Claude sees highest usage in the US at 21.5%, followed by India, Brazil, Japan, and South Korea. High-income smaller countries like Israel, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand show disproportionately high adoption rates. This pattern suggests that AI adoption correlates with both technical education and economic development, but also that developing countries are leapfrogging traditional technology adoption curves. India's strong showing with Claude makes sense given their coding expertise, which aligns with Claude's strength in programming tasks. Brazil's high usage suggests AI tools are finding applications beyond traditional tech centers. The geographic data also reveals that AI models are differentiating based on their strengths rather than competing directly across all use cases.
Google's response to OpenAI's dominance includes both competitive moves and strategic positioning. Gemini surpassing ChatGPT in US Apple Store rankings reflects their aggressive push, but their real innovation might be Volt Gemma, a privacy-centric open-source model. Volt Gemma uses differential privacy from the ground up, which means it's trained specifically not to memorize sensitive information. While it correctly performs at the level of LLMs from 5 years ago, the privacy guarantee could be crucial for healthcare, finance, and government applications where data sensitivity outweighs cutting-edge performance. This represents a different competitive strategy, competing on privacy and security rather than just capability. In regulated industries, a good enough AI that guarantees data protection might beat a superior AI with privacy risks. China's brain-inspired computing approach represents both technological innovation and geopolitical strategy. Faced with U.S. restrictions on NVIDIA hardware, Chinese companies are developing AI systems that mimic human brain activity, only consuming power and becoming active when processing specific inputs. The claimed 100x speed improvement for long documents, if accurate, could be revolutionary. Traditional transformer models are always on and energy-intensive. Brain-inspired systems that activate only when needed could solve both performance and energy challenges. But I'm cautiously skeptical of the performance claims. We've seen many revolutionary AI architectures that worked well in controlled conditions, but struggled with real-world deployment. The proof will be in practical applications, not just laboratory benchmarks. However, the strategic direction makes sense. China is investing in fundamentally different AI architectures rather than just trying to replicate Western approaches with domestic hardware. This could lead to genuinely innovative solutions or expensive dead ends.
Harvard's PD Graffer represents a potential paradigm shift in medical AI. Instead of targeting single proteins like traditional drug discovery, it analyzes all cellular relationships simultaneously to predict which gene combinations could restore cellular health. The results are impressive, outperforming rival AI systems by 35% and providing responses 25 times faster across 19 cancer types. It also accurately predicted lung cancer treatments in trials. This holistic approach to cellular disease makes intuitive sense. Diseases rarely involve single cellular pathways, so targeting multiple genes simultaneously could be more effective than current pharmaceutical approaches. However, the gap between cellular analysis and successful human treatments remains enormous. Many promising cellular discoveries never translate to effective therapies due to complexity, side effects, or delivery challenges. The robot learning company's open-source robot kit that allows weekend robot training represents a democratization of robotics similar to early personal computers. Making robot arm programming accessible to non-engineers could accelerate innovation by expanding the developer base. This connects to broader trends in human-computer interaction. MIT's alter ego headset that interprets jaw muscle movements for communication, combined with predictions about brain-computer interfaces replacing keyboards and mice, suggests we're approaching a fundamental shift in how humans interact with technology. The timeline predictions seem optimistic. Keyboards from 1868 and mice from 1964 have persisted because they work well for many tasks. But for specific applications, like accessibility or hands-free environments, alternative interfaces could find substantial markets. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment with your thoughts on whether brain-inspired AI will beat traditional approaches, and subscribe to the channel for more AI analysis. The ongoing lawsuits between media companies and AI firms reveal fundamental tensions about content ownership and compensation. Penske Media's suit against Google over AI overviews, following similar cases from the New York Times and others, suggests the legal framework for AI training data is still evolving. The core issue is economic. AI summarization reduces website traffic, decreasing advertising and subscription revenue for content creators. This creates an adversarial relationship where AI companies benefit from training on content while undermining the creators' business models. I expect we'll see subscription or licensing models emerge, where media companies get compensated for AI training data, similar to how Anthropic agreed to pay fees after author lawsuits. The question is whether these arrangements will be economically sustainable for both sides. OpenAI's plan to reduce Microsoft's revenue share from 20% to 8% after 10 years could generate an additional $50 billion for OpenAI. This suggests OpenAI expects to remain independent rather than being acquired and values its autonomy enough to pay for it. The emphasis on secure usage in their renewed Memorandum of Understanding addresses growing concerns about AI safety and misuse. As AI capabilities expand, the partnership between major AI developers and cloud infrastructure providers becomes more critical for responsible deployment.
The briefing acknowledges very massive unemployment within 5 years due to AI and robotics, suggesting universal basic income as a potential solution. This represents a more realistic assessment than typical tech optimism about AI creating new jobs to replace displaced ones. The prediction of growing inequality between those who control AI systems and everyone else aligns with historical patterns of technological disruption. However, the timeline seems compressed compared to previous industrial transformations. Google DeepMind's Demis Hassabis provides a more nuanced definition of AGI than typical industry hype. He argues current AI isn't PhD level because true AGI should be error-free, consistently performant, and capable of independent scientific discovery. His prediction of a golden age of science driven by AGI sounds optimistic, but DeepMind's track record with AlphaGo, AlphaFold, and other scientific applications lend credibility to their approach. The integration of AI with robotics through Gemini, aiming for an Android-like operating system for general robotics, represents a comprehensive strategy rather than just better language models.
Hassabis' advice that learning how to learn is the most important skill reflects the reality of continuous technological change. Traditional educational approaches that front-load knowledge may become obsolete when information and even analysis are instantly available through AI. The concern about AI answers diminishing curiosity is valid, but not inevitable. The challenge is fostering critical thinking and creativity when information retrieval becomes effortless. Hassabis' belief that AI will give back much more than the energy it consumes through climate solutions represents optimistic but unproven speculation. Current AI systems consume enormous amounts of energy, and the proposed climate benefits remain theoretical. The brain-inspired computing approaches from China, if successful, could address energy consumption concerns while maintaining performance. This represents another area where geopolitical competition might drive beneficial innovation. We're witnessing mass adoption, 700 million ChatGPT users, technological nationalism, China's brain-inspired AI, and scientific breakthroughs, Harvard's disease reversal, happening simultaneously. The convergence of these trends will likely accelerate change beyond what any single development might achieve. The usage patterns show AIs becoming infrastructure rather than novelty, integrated into daily decision-making rather than just work tasks. The geographic distribution reveals global competition for AI leadership rather than dominance by a single country or company. The legal battles over content rights and the predictions of massive unemployment highlight the social disruption accompanying technical progress. How we manage this transition through policy, education, and social support systems may be more important than the specific technical capabilities we develop. The next few years will determine whether AI development leads to broadly shared benefits or concentrated advantages for those who control the technology. The trends we're seeing today, mass adoption, geopolitical competition, and breakthrough applications, will shape that outcome.